Paul Peterson, and I am the editor of Education Next. And I have with me today here at the Hoover Institution, as you can see, we're at the Hoover Institution, Rick Hanushek, a senior fellow here. And Rick is also a member of a commission called the Equity and Excellence Commission that has just issued its report called For Each and Every Child, For Each and Every Child. So Rick, what's the key takeaway in this report? What is the basic message of this commission's report?
Well, I think that there are actually two basic messages. The first one is that we have a twin achievement problem. We aren't producing students at the level that's competitive worldwide, and we have huge achievement gaps for disadvantaged and other kids. Secondly, contrary to what many people would argue, it's not just a resource problem. It's a problem of having sufficient resources, but having them used effectively and efficiently.
Well, the report is on equity and excellence, and when I read the report, I see a struggle between different elements within the commission because you had a very diverse group there, and some seem to be very interested in equity and others in excellence. How did you decide to resolve this? Because the big theme is that other countries are ahead of us, which would seem to me to say we got to move every child up the ladder and to improve the country's educational system as a whole. But at times in the report, it looks to me like there's a lot of emphasis that we don't have to do something for everybody. So can you square that circle?
Surely this is a complicated commission and a complicated report. There were 27 members of this commission, and if you look at the list, you find that there are people representing almost every group that has an interest in education today, both education excellence and equity. And so some of the discussions in the committee meetings were obviously heated and people pointing in various directions. But the remarkable thing, I think still, is that this was a consensus report, that the 27 different people, very different backgrounds and political persuasions and representing different organizations, came together to agree that we had these twin problems that we just had to address. Now, partly the fact is that the federal government can't do a lot because the states are the prime movers. And so there was a lot of effort in the commission to in fact find ways in which the federal government could induce, incent, push states to do things that were in the national interest.
But I still feel when I read the report that a lot of it is at a very general level. What specifically? What's the number one thing specifically, or the number two or three things specifically that your commission is asking the secretary to consider?
Well, the report first had the same kind of appeal that we saw in the State of the Union to do something more about preschool for disadvantaged kids, and that was a prime thing for disadvantaged kids. But the starting point is to get the finance right, where it's not just finance, but it is, in fact, the effective use of the resources we have. Now, there's some details about what that means for how we deal with teacher policies. Do we train teachers better? Do we evaluate them better? Do we make sure by some means to always have good teachers in the classroom? And you see all of these represented because in part we don't know the simple answer, but we know the general answer.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'm sure this report's going to get a lot of attention and you'll have a lot of opportunities to spread the word.
Thank you.